NAWCWD recovers from a shaky summer after a pair of strong earthquakes rocked the area. Plus, NAVAIR delivers a safer, more comfortable seat to aircrew in the H-16 helicopters. And the Naval Aviation Readiness Reform ensuring we are ready to fight and win. Welcome to this 2019 Year in Review edition of AIRWaves. I'm Michael Lauren Prue. We begin with the road to 341. In September, Naval Aviation achieved its Secretary of Defense mandated readiness target of 80% mission-capable rate for both its operational Super Hornet and Growler fleets. This was a big accomplishment. To achieve this goal, the Naval Aviation Enterprise implemented the Naval Sustainment System for Aviation, leveraging industry's best practices to update and improve naval aviation maintenance in squadrons, as well as at intermediate and depot fleet readiness centers. Additional reform efforts greatly improve supply chain management, engineering practices, governance activities, and safety. Moving forward, the Navy and Marine Corps will apply NSSA reforms to sustain readiness.
We're rewriting the book on how things are going to be done, and so as we now transition from achieving where we needed to be readiness-wise into a more sustainment, long-term sustainment mode, we still have a lot of learning to do, and we'll continue to, iterate and continuously improve and apply those lessons across the force.
You can learn more about the road to 341 and other NSS efforts by listening to our AIRWaves podcast on all your favorite listening channels. The Independence Day weekend won't soon be forgotten by the NAWCWD workforce at China Lake. The base was the epicenter for two of the most powerful earthquakes to hit Southern California in nearly 2 decades. The earthquakes and aftershocks that followed caused significant damage to buildings and one-of-a-kind test equipment and facilities, many of which are unrepairable. NAVAIR Commander Vice Admiral Dean Peters visited the base shortly after the earthquakes hit. He praised the workforce for their resiliency and continued efforts to support the warfighter. And in December, Vice Chief of Naval Operations Admiral Robert Burke visited NAWCWD China Lake for the first time. During his tour of the base, VCNO viewed some of the earthquake damage and met with NAWCWD leadership to discuss plans to repair and rebuild. And you can check out the full story by visiting our website at www.navair.navy.mil/news. An exciting first test flight of the world's first operational carrier-based unmanned refueling aircraft, the MQ-25. In September, the Boeing-owned MQ-25 test asset, known as T-1, successfully performed an autonomous taxi and takeoff from Mid-America Airport in Muscoda, Illinois. T-1 flew an FAA-certified flight route for 2 hours to validate the aircraft's basic flight functions and operations. This is an important step towards the integration of the Stingray into the carrier air wing for initial operational capability by 2024. The MQ-25 system will extend the performance and range of our aircraft carriers. Mission readiness took center stage at the NAVAIR Commanders Awards. The annual event recognizes employees and teams across the command for their hard work in support of the warfighter. This year's award categories align directly to the commander's intent, improving flight line readiness and increasing speed to the fleet. NAVAIR Commander Vice Admiral Dean Peters recognized each of the winners, saying the value NAVAIR brings to naval aviation is through its people.
I was really brimming with enthusiasm. That's no kidding. When you get to shake the hands of the folks that are doing this great work and see in their eyes the fact that, they really love what they're doing. They know that they're making a difference, and that's what drives them.
The Naval Air Warfare Center Aircraft Division had its own Commander's Awards ceremony to recognize members of the workforce for advancing capabilities and operational readiness for naval aviation. Among the winning technology, improved training for the next generation of aviators, new equipment to help aviators operate in bad weather, and a virtual tracking system to provide ready, relevant learning to sailors. One of the teams recognized at the Commander's Awards tackled naval aviation's #2 safety priority, the gunner seat. The Aircrew Systems Program Office delivered, installed, and demonstrated the first 2 redesigned MH-60S Seahawk gunner seats to Helicopter Sea Combat Wing Pacific in September. The new seat provides better crash protection and is more comfortable for aircrew on long flights. The program office worked with NAWCWD Airworks to complete the mission with urgency, incorporating real-time fleet feedback into the seat's design.
Having the seat come here, having the NAVAIR engineers here on the flight line shows in a very tangible way that their feedback, that their voices are being heard. It's one thing to say that something is coming. It's a total another thing to show that a capability is here and their crew's voices are being heard. It's real.
Want to hear more positive feedback from the fleet? Check out the full story by visiting our website at www.navair.navy.mil/news. The year brought top honors for several FRC sailors. In May, the Navy named Chief Cindy Johnson, a logistics specialist at Fleet Readiness Center Southwest, its 2018 Shore Sailor of the Year. Johnson was meritoriously advanced to Chief Petty Officer in honor of her award. In November, ComFRC named Aviation Support Equipment Technician First Class Christian Young ComFRC 2019 Shore Sailor of the Year. He joins fellow FRC Southwest sailor PR1 Liberty Kaganen, who was ComFRC 2019 Sea Sailor of the Year. Congratulations to all. And happy birthday to Fleet Readiness Center Southwest. The command marked 100 years of service on board Naval Air Station North Island in July. Founded in 1919, it was the DoD's first overhaul and repair department. More recently, it was the first FRC to undergo the Naval Sustainment System model. 2 NAWCWD engineers received the nation's top award for their work in science, technology, engineering, and math. President Donald Trump named Dr. Brandon Kokenauer, an electrical engineer, and Dr. James Hing, a robotics engineer, as recipients of the Presidential Early Career Award for Scientists and Engineers. The award honors the nation's most outstanding STEM professionals who show exceptional promise to advance science and technology. It's also recognizing their contributions to education and community service. And the President will have a new ride in the new year. The Navy's Presidential Helicopter Program awarded a contract to Sikorsky to build 6 VH-92A aircraft. But with enhanced crew coordination and communication systems, the new Marine One will increase performance and payload over the current presidential helicopters that have been serving over 40 years. The aircraft is expected to enter into service in late 2020. The Navy's newest aircraft recovery system, the Advanced Arresting Gear, completed its most demanding test event to date. The NAWCWD AAG team, working with industry partners, used 5 Super Hornets to complete 22 aircraft arrestments in just over 26 minutes at the runway arrested landing site at Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst in New Jersey. The 2-day test event evaluated the system's ability to handle thermal heat generated during fast-paced carrier flight deck operations. The U.S. Navy has made significant progress in maturing the AAG system. In August, the system received the green light to recover props and jets aircraft, clearing the way for propeller aircraft to perform flight operations aboard USS Gerald R. Ford. In December, the system was also approved for use with the T-45C Goshawk to support training for the Air Wing. The Ford is the first carrier to host AAG, as well as the Electromagnetic Aircraft Launch System. Both carrier-based launch and recovery technologies will be installed aboard future Ford-class carriers. Another set of milestones for the F-35C Lightning II, as NAWCWD test pilots and engineers get the aircraft ready to launch and recover on aircraft carriers at sea. The developments come at the completion of a series of flight tests at Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst in New Jersey. The first part of this series of tests included dozens of roll-ins, where the jet starts from a dead stop and rolls down the runway, and its tailhook catches the arresting gear wire on the ground. This testing is important for 2 reasons: to see how the aircraft will handle the older Mark 7 arresting gear system installed on the Nimitz-class carriers, and also to see how it would work with EMALS, the newest aircraft launch technology that will be installed aboard future Ford-class carriers. The newly gathered data will help in future testing. Thanks to a successful target launch, the Navy is well on its way to providing better fleet training off the East Coast. In September, the Navy successfully launched its first Coyote supersonic sea skimming target from NASA's Wallops Flight Facility. This site activation established an East Coast supersonic target capability in support of fleet missile exercise training. The goal is to increase fleet lethality and tactical proficiency by providing operators a venue to execute procedures real-time. NAWCWD's 5th Innovation Challenge ended with 2 innovative solutions for the fleet. 2 teams of junior employees built a working prototype with only 6 months and a budget of $25,000. From Lakehurst, Team Aurora, which stands for Augmented Reality Ordnance Retrieval Aid, used computer programming to help sailors and Marines organize weapons magazines on carriers. Meanwhile, at Pax River, there was Team SOMAD, which stands for Sonar Magnetic Anomaly Detection, figured out a new way to find objects of interest in the water. Both teams presented their projects to leadership at Pax River with hopes of continuing their endeavors after the Innovation Challenge is over. Could seawater be the key to creating an alternative fuel source for aircraft? Chemists at Naval Air Warfare Center Weapons Division are working with scientists from the University of Manchester to study the biosynthetic production of molecules in seawater. It's called synthetic biology, a process where scientists apply engineering principles to redesign systems that are already found in nature. NAWCWD has developed a method to convert linalool, a naturally occurring alcohol found in plants, into a high-performance missile fuel. It is chemically indistinguishable from the petroleum-derived analog. If the process works, it may allow for production of fuels and lubricants at sea, reducing cost and freshwater demands. Robots, a smart box, and a coordinated effort that could one day save lives in the field. This was the idea behind a recent NAWCWD demonstration at Webster Outlying Field in St. Inigoes, Maryland. It's called KURE, short for Cooperative Unmanned Air Systems and Robots for Remote Explosive Ordnance Disposal. During the demonstration, the robot emerged from a smart crate on its own. Operators sitting miles away then moved the robot with the visual help from a camera attached to an unmanned Tiger Shark aircraft. The engineers and robotics team behind KURE hope this is something the fleet will use in the future. The KURE demonstration is part of a larger series of test exercises known as Antex TestX. She's served test and evaluation for 20 years. Now aircraft number 8 has a new home. Crews gathered early on a Saturday morning to move the well-loved MV-22 Bravo Osprey, known as 8-Ball, to the Pax River Naval Museum. Those who know the aircraft best were on hand to see the aircraft take its place in history. So now, after providing years of test data to engineers and countless flight hours for operational pilots, 8-Ball will now educate visitors to the museum for years to come. And another retirement of note, the Blue Angels' beloved Fat Albert. But never fear, we're just months away from seeing the replacement aircraft take its place alongside the Naval Flight Demonstration Team. The divested C-130J Super Hercules hails from the United Kingdom's Ministry of Defense and is a major cost savings for the U.S., approximately $50 million less than a new aircraft. The now retired Fat Albert serves as a ground-based training platform in Fort Worth, Texas. The Blue Angels would continue flying other C-130 assets until the replacement aircraft is complete. And that's it for this year-end edition of AIRWaves. See you on the flight line.